Okay, so like I said, guys, we're doing 2.5 or 2.25 pages of lessons today. And actually, I already just taught you what we're starting with. Remember in the homework how I asked you to put them the sides in order from smallest to largest, and then the angles in order from smallest to largest?
Yeah.
And you guys were like, I don't really know how to do the angles. Well, that is literally this theorem that's like the point of the lesson. Oh, Ben left. Bye, Ben. In the triangle, this theorem says in a triangle, the longest side is across from the largest angle. The shortest side is opposite the smallest angle. Oh, he came back. And the medium side is across from the medium angle. All right, that seems to make sense, right? Smallest side is across from smallest angle, largest side is across from largest angle, medium side is across from medium angle. My only hint is don't go on what it looks like. Don't be like, that looks like it's the smallest side. Look at what it's actually labeled, what is given to you. Given angle, given side. Okay, so let's do that here. I'll do this first one and then I'll ask you guys to help me, okay? This one says list the angles in order from biggest to smallest. So I want the biggest one first and then I want the smallest one. Okay, my biggest side here is BC. So if the biggest side is BC, that means the biggest angle is the angle across from that, which is angle A. So angle A is going to go first. I'm just going to make a little list and say angle A, angle something else. All right. So because the directions said biggest, I'm going to start with biggest. If the directions say smallest, we'll start with smallest. The next biggest, the medium one, is the 5, AC. So the angle across from AC is angle B. So angle B is my second angle. And then the last side is the smallest side because its measurement is 4. AB, that means its smallest angle is angle C. That's all it is. All we're doing is listing. Not too bad, right? I don't really think it is, but we'll find out. Can someone help me with this one? Yeah, Tria, we're going from shortest to longest. What's the shortest side?
Angle T.
Angle T is my shortest. It's my smallest angle. So what side goes with that? SR. Awesome. So now we're starting smallest. I'm going to go SR is my first. It's my smallest side. Ava, do my medium one.
ST.
ST is my medium side because it's across from the medium angle, which is 60. So ST is my medium side. And then what's my largest side? RT, because it's across from the largest angle. We're gonna do a lot more practice, so you won't mess it up when you go home, I promise. All right, quick question. What side of a right triangle is the longest? Yeah, Lila. Hypotenuse. Where is the hypotenuse?
On the cross from the
side.
It's the opposite of the space.
Awesome. I heard a lot of really great things. It's the longest side. It's opposite the right angle. Now let's make that make sense based on the theorem I just taught you, right? Do either of the two other angles, are they 90 or bigger?
No.
Could they ever be 90 or bigger? No, because why, Eileen?
Because they have to add up.
Absolutely. They have to add up to 180 with a 90-degree angle already there. So there's no way the other two could be 90 degrees or bigger. So that means the hypotenuse is always the biggest side because 90 is always the biggest angle in a right triangle. So the hypotenuse goes in that blank. That's my longest side. Hypotenuse. I think it's Greek. I think it comes from a Greek word. Hypotenuse, and I'm going to say it's because it's the side opposite 90 degrees. Sure. You can also say opposite the biggest angle.
That's a B.
All right, the next three we're gonna do together. I'm gonna need one person for each part to help me with smallest, medium, largest. One person's gonna list all the sides, someone new is gonna do all the angles, someone's gonna do all the sides in the next one, someone's gonna do all the angles. So I'm gonna need 6 people to help me. Who wants to start this one? Maya, which one do you wanna do, sides or angles?
I'll do some.
Good, sides. What's the smallest side?
Smallest side is BC. Is it just like, you don't have to do the switch thing?
The smallest,
Or like the opposite, that's just.
no,
for-
so just since the sides are the ones that's labeled, just tell me the smallest side that you see.
Oh, maybe.
AB. Good. And then what's the medium side you see?
AC.
Good. And then what's the biggest side you see?
AC.
Good. So sides is just what you physically see. We don't have to go across. We don't have to do anything crazy. Literally what you see. Lila, you gonna do angles?
Oh, sure, but how do you know when to use the
I don't know.
greater than symbols? How do you know when to use those and use commas?
We are just using commas because it says list from smallest to largest.
Okay, and then the angles,
Mhm.
the smallest one is C,
Good.
and then B, then A.
B is my second smallest. It's my medium. And then A is my largest. What I like to do sometimes if you don't have a highlight or if you're using paper pencil, I like to just write L for my largest one on the side and the angle. I like to write M for my medium one. I like to write S for my smallest one. If I use my iPad, sometimes I like to just use the colors. That helps me keep everything straight. All right. I need 2 new people to help me with the next one. Chase, you got me? Which one are you gonna do?
I'll do
Angles. What's your smallest angle?
49.
E, angle E is my smallest. What's my medium?
C.
Good. And then my largest is angle D as in dog. When you gonna do my other one?
Yep, CD is the smallest line,
What, say that one more time.
CD.
CD. C is in cat, D is in dog,
DE,
DE, dog and elephant. And then what's my last one?
CE.
CE.
So when do we have to do the?
It depends on whatever is given to you. So like, since this time it was given to us as angles, we could just list the angles as what we saw.
I have a question.
Okay. Since the angles are what was given to us, we just read them as we see them. So Chase was like, okay, I physically see 25 as the smallest, that's next to E, E is the smallest angle. When we did sides, though, the sides were not labeled, so I have to go
Oh.
across for them.
Again, sorry.
Yeah.
Is 25 good to CD,
Is 25 what?
it goes to CD.
Yes. Elaine, do you have a question? Perfect. Let me just finish my color coordinating, then I'll move to the next one. All right, next one. It looks like this one, it says 56 and then 58.
So with that one, do I have to add those together?
Absolutely. That was the very first step that I was about to ask. So Alea goes, we have to find that third angle. What'd you say, Eileen? We gotta solve for that third angle. We gotta add the 2 up that we have and minus from 180. What is angle Y gonna be? 66? All right, I need someone to do angles. I need someone to do sides.
Okay.
Alea, you rising to the mission?
I'll just,
All right, sides.
I'll swap, okay. So the first one will be YZ,
Good.
the next one will be XY,
Yes.
and then the last one will be X.
Uh-huh.
Let's go across.
So since we knew that 56 was the smallest angle, then that means the side opposite it, YZ is the smallest side. Ben, did you have your hand up? Are you gonna do angles for me?
I'm just confused.
Yeah.
If we add, side, like, Y to Z, So 66 plus 58 is the smallest.
Oh, no. Those are angle measurements. YZ is a side measurement, and we actually don't know how much this side is. We just know that it's across from the smallest angle. So that means of all the sides, it's gonna be the smallest one. We don't know its measure. We just know it's gonna be smallest.
So how do you know X, Y, Z, X?
Same thing. So since 56 was the smallest angle, that means its side is the smallest. The next smallest angle, the medium angle, is 58 at angle Z. So that means the side opposite it, XY, is my medium side.
Opposite side. Second half of it is the opposite.
Mhm. So what's my smallest? Let's do angles. What's my smallest angle? What's my next smallest? And then Y. Good. Good. Sides. YZ, XY, ZX. And you can put that in whatever order. So you can say XY or you can say YX. Oh, it's snowing outside. Everybody look.
Yeah.
Has it been snowing all day?
I think
I did see that it was snowing during mass and I wanted it to stick. Chase, stand up. Is it sticking?
It's a little wet outside.
So no, okay. I really want some like standing snow. Is that too much to ask
Just
for?
wait till April.
I know, literally wait till April and then it'll, what?
Snow to grow some legs and sand.
I do, I want it walking around, I like going for jogs.
That's gonna be a more terrifying version of crossing snow.
I just hate like so cold and no snow. I want some snow, I think. Oh, you're right. You gotta do some snow driving though when you're young.
Yes, but my parents are.
My dad took me and my sister out on our 16th birthday on a snowy street in our car that didn't have emergency brakes. And we like fishtailed and like turned the car a bunch and I cried and my mom got mad.
It was the first time I drove a car, I ran into that.
Wow.
I stepped on, I didn't know the difference between gas and brake.
Yeah.
So I stepped on gas really fast. But I'm a good driver now.
All right, well, I hope that snow keeps going. We're gonna come back. We got 2 more problems on this note sheet, and then we just have one side of the other note sheet. I want to keep moving just so I can give you some time to do homework, okay? You guys ready? All right, this time I'm doing the exact same thing, but now I'm putting 2 triangles next to each other. It's very, very similar, but then there's going to be a key thing that might be a little confusing at first. So I need everybody kind of on board listening. Okay, when we have 2 triangles next to each other, I want us to list one triangle's shortest to largest, and then I want us to list the other triangle shortest to largest. So we're going to start with triangle BCD. So I'm going to start with this one. I'll call this my little orange triangle, triangle BCD. Let's label shortest, longest, medium, and then we'll write that over under A. What is the shortest side? What's the smallest side of my BCD? What'd you say? BC. Thank you, Sophia. BC is my smallest. What's my medium side? BD. And what's my largest side? DC. Mhm. So BC is my shortest. BD is the medium, and DC is the largest.
So many numbers, isn't it?
Good, so this one, I wanted us to solely focus on the orange triangle. I do not care what the other triangle looks like. I only wanted you to focus on the orange triangle. Okay. Now I'm gonna make the other triangle green, and I want to focus on the green triangle now. And my question is going to be the exact same. I want to know what's the smallest side, what's the biggest side, what's the medium side. What's BD? The shortest, the smallest, very good. What's the medium side? Good, and what's my largest side? AD. Let me write that down. BD, AB, AD. All right, my first question. What is the shortest segment of this entire figure?
It is BD.
Good, I'm gonna tell you BD is not right.
Okay.
Isn't it also
Huh?
BC?
Why is it BC?
Because it is by
It's only
itself.
small by itself. Oh my god. Oh.
Okay.
So why, let's kind of rewind. Let's rewind. I love, sorry? Okay, okay, sorry, I thought you were talking. Okay, I want a team timeout though, because BD is an awesome guess. Why did you all guess that?
Because it's the smallest number. Angle across it.
So you guys were like, all right, let me find the smallest angle and it must be the side across from that. That's not flawed logic. It's not what I want us to use, but it's not wrong thought process, okay? So you're like, okay, the smallest angle must be across from the smallest side. The reason I'm going to tell you we cannot use that logic is because it's not always true. Do you see that BD is not the smallest segment in the orange triangle? So it's BC. Good. So even though BD is across from the smallest angle, comparatively, it's not the smallest because BC, you already told me, was smaller than. So we have to look at it all compared to each other. You may be sitting at lunch with a bunch of friends and maybe you're the tallest friend there. But then maybe you come to class and then you're not the tallest person in class. Maybe somebody else is the tallest person. That doesn't make you less tall. And it doesn't make you not taller than the other friends. It just doesn't make you the tallest of all of the people. So we have to compare it to both triangles. So that's why I had this labeled. As soon as I saw that this was the smallest of the left triangle, but the medium of the right, I have to go find the smallest of the right. So BC is the smallest of the entire diagram.
Oh, it was asking me BC or, yeah.
Letter, it was asking of the whole triangle.
So because there's two, you have to do like the one.
So since this one was the smallest of one triangle, but it was the medium of the other triangle,
Oh, you went to C
I had to do the
first.
smallest. I went to C first, yeah, as opposed to D.
As opposed to A.
Oh,
Like you asked what number C was, right? And then you asked us.
I thought I did A and then I thought I did B and then I thought I did C. Okay. Sometimes this is the second time in a row I've done this. Sometimes after I've done it enough times, I'm like, did I do it wrong? I might have. Okay, letter D says, is the shortest segment in the whole diagram opposite the smallest angle in the whole diagram?
Yes. No. Yes.
No, no, no.
We just learned no, right?
That was a lot of words.
Yeah. It's the shortest segment of the whole diagram. No.
No. You guys just told me that your thought process was let's find the smallest angle and let's pick the side across from that. And I told you it doesn't always work like that. We got to work comparatively. So I'm going to say no. We need to compare the sides. So you can't just pick the smallest one. We need to label all the sides and we need to compare them. The last question I have on this figure is how many segments are bigger than BD?
Two.
Which two?
B, D, C, and AD.
All right, Lila says BC.
No.
Oh, sorry.
D, C, and AD.
DC and AD. I'm gonna argue there's one more.
Oh, it's bigger than B.
Bigger than BD.
Isn't it BD 60?
Is it 3 of them?
Oh my God.
Yes,
And
it
50.
Sure.
Wait,
There's 3 of them. AB.
Yay.
So most of you guys immediately were like, okay, well, I know the 2 largest ones are definitely bigger than BD. Awesome, great thought process. However, I would argue AB is also bigger than BD because we said in the green writing that BD is the smallest side of that triangle and AB is the medium size of that triangle. So the medium one should be bigger than the smallest one, right?
Wait, so. The BD. So that one's 60.
So there are 3 segments that are bigger than BD. One of them is AD, one of them is DC, and one of them is AB. What'd you say?
Does it matter what number? Like.
It doesn't matter the angle number, it matters how they compare to each other. So this one was the smallest of its side, which means that its medium and its large must be bigger than it, right? And then even though this is across from 65 and all of these are bigger than 50, it's still only the medium side of the triangle on the right. So only the large one is bigger than it
So then, how is the medium bigger than
because they're two different mediums.
but then the smaller is a different.
The smalls are different too. So because this small is the same thing as that medium. So that's why I even use different colors, because I'm like, okay, the small of the green is smaller than the other green ones, but it's not necessarily smaller than the pink ones. I have to look at the pink letter in order to decide how that relates to each other. All right, we're gonna do one more like this. All right, guys, flip your paper over. I've got one tiny example before we're done and moving on to the next lesson. This one, it says simply, list the segments of the diagram in order from least to greatest. List the segments from smallest to largest.
All of them?
Yes. Now, what I want to do, just like we did before, I want you to do all of them for one triangle. I want you to do all of them for another triangle, and then I want to compare them together, okay? So let's do this. We'll do triangle WXZ first. Everybody with me?
Sorry.
So I'm gonna do this as a green triangle. Maya, you're already doing something. What are you doing?
I added it to find the last other
Good, what's my missing angle?
55.
55? Perfect. Maya says that we can't start until we find that third angle, so she added 44 plus 81, and she found that that missing angle had to be 55. All right, now that we know that, what's my smallest side?
X.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. WZ is my medium one.
Wait, how do you know how'd you find 55?
Add the 80.
Oh, yeah.
So we decided that X is the biggest one, WZ is the medium, and XZ is the smallest one, okay? I know, I'm so sorry. We're gonna make this one pink, and we're gonna do that. And we gotta find the missing side. Missing angle, excuse me, I don't know why I said side. Missing angle, 42. All right, if 42 is that missing angle, what's my smallest side of that tiny XYZ triangle? YZ or ZY, you can call it whatever you want. What's the medium side?
X, Y,
XY, and then what's the largest side?
X.
XZ. All right, so I have just been labeling my picture. I'm gonna write this out in like actual letter notation, okay? So off to the side, I had already written triangle WXZ. So I'm gonna write from smallest to largest there. So in the green triangle, we said our smallest side was XZ. We said our medium side was WZ. And we said our largest side was XW. Everyone okay with my green triangle ordering?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now we're gonna do the pink triangle, which is my XYZ triangle. You told me that the smallest side was YZ. Do you like to write, please? Thank you. My smallest side was YZ. My medium side, you told me, was XY, and then my largest side was XZ. Cool. Yeah, Dane. We're gonna write them all in order. I want to write all of these in like from the very smallest all the way to the biggest. So I'm gonna have one big line of 5 segments. Does anyone notice anything that's gonna help me put these two together? One list was XZ, WZ, XW,
X.
XZ. What about XZ? Yes. What do you say, Lance?
It's the smallest for one and biggest for the other.
Amazing. It's the smallest for one and it's the biggest for another.
So it's gonna go in the middle.
It's gonna go right in the middle. X, Z is the middle one. Why are there what? They're little lines just because I'm gonna put them in order.
Wait, how, 5 or 6?
I'm only gonna have 5 because you see how XZ is repeated. So I don't need to write XZ twice. I'm just gonna write it one time in the middle. What 2 are gonna go in front of XZ? What's the very smallest?
Why is he?
Good. YZ and then XY, because in our pink triangle, XZ was the biggest one. So I need it to be the end of those 3. As Lance already said, it's the smallest in the other triangle, right? So it starts my next triangle. What's the next biggest side after XZ? Good. And then what's the biggest side of the whole triangle? Good. XW.
So basically, you can just do this by looking at the angle of size.
You cannot necessarily look at the angle sizes. This one did work out that way, didn't it?
Sure.
But it didn't work out the other way. So we cannot just look at angles to decide.
So what?
So remember how we looked at one triangle at a time and decided small, medium, large? Then I looked at the other triangle all by itself and did small, medium, large. In order for me to connect them, one of the sides has to be the smallest in one and the biggest in the other. So I have to have that connector piece in order if I want you to write them all in a row. Ellen? Nope, okay, I thought you were having hands.
So we did write CX twice.
We wrote it twice originally, like at this first part right here, just because it was in 2 separate triangles.
Yeah.
But when I brought it together, I don't need to write XZ twice. It's kind of redundant, right? It's the same side. All right, you guys ready for the next set of notes? You guys are doing awesome. Okay, this one is 5.7. This is inequalities of 2 triangles. This is just kind of less than, greater than, or equal to stuff. I just have a one-sider of this, and then we are done for today. How are we doing on time? Ooh, we're not looking great on time. How do we lose so much time?
We've been asking a lot of questions.
Okay, well, let's see how much I can get through on this. No, this is what I didn't get homework on. So if I miss it, I'll just do it with you guys next class. Okay, Hinge theorem is also known as side angle side inequality. Basically, what it says is that I have 2 triangles and they both have 2 sides that are congruent and their included angle is given to us. I know what that third side is going to be, if it's going to be bigger or smaller than the other. If 2 sides are congruent to 2 sides of triangle 2, then the included angle is larger in triangle 1, then the third side is longer for triangle 1. I think the words are super confusing there, so let me look at the picture, okay? The pictures here, you see that RS is congruent to VW, and you see how ST is congruent to WX.
Yes.
Now, which angle is bigger? Is angle S or angle W bigger? Angle S is bigger, so that means RT is the longer side, it's the bigger side, and VX is the smaller side. RT is greater than VX. Okay, we can also do the opposite. If I give you, like in the picture below, if I give you these sides are congruent and those sides are congruent, and I give you the third side instead of the angle, we can see which angle is going to be bigger. Is BC, is that side bigger or smaller than EF? I'm just getting, feel like worried up here. Who needs to reach me? I'm not that important. All right, A is going to be the bigger angle, right? Because 8 is bigger than 7. So that's going to be bigger, that's larger, and this is going to be smaller. So angle A is going to be greater than angle 7 or angle D. This is technically known as the side inequality theorem. But again, I don't think the words are super helpful there. The angle will be larger. Again, I think the pictures are easier than the words. Okay. So let's do these problems, okay? So I'll kind of walk you through the first couple, and if you feel good, just keep jumping ahead. we're gonna either put a greater than, less than, or equal to sign. On this first one, number one, these two sides are congruent. The side that they share is congruent because of reflexive property. The third sides are 21 and 20. 21 is larger than 20, so that means angle 2 is bigger than angle 1. Angle 1 is less than angle 2. If I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, I have a whole bachelor's degree in mathematics, and I still think about my inequality as which one eats the bigger one. I do not care if you have a cute little trick like I do. Nobody cares as long as you do it right, correct? So 2 is bigger, so that means the mouth is opening towards the 2 and eating the 2. Okay. Let's look at the next one. What do we think here? Is BC bigger or smaller than EF? Smaller. 50 degrees is smaller than 60 degrees, so BC is less than EF. Not too bad, right? What about number 3? Sophia, tell me. Why? Good, the sides were equal, so that was cool. And then I go to look at the angle, and the angles are equal, so that means their opposite sides must be equal. We got some congruent triangles in there. What about number 4? Those are equal too. Why are those equal? Say again, Quinn. Vertical angles are congruent. Good. You guys didn't forget anything. You guys are killing it. What about number 5? 1 is what? Bigger. 1 is greater than. That's larger. 16 is larger than 12. So 1 is bigger than 2. And this last one, we actually have to do something before we can solve this. Good. We have to recognize the reflexive property. So I've got this side and this side are congruent, and then these two.
So what is an ASS?
What'd you say?
Isn't it congruent with ASS?
It is not ASS. We care about AD and BC. Remember that it has to be the included angle. So here's one side, here's another side. That's my included angle. That's cool. But if I go over to the other side, here's my side and here's my side. That's its included angle. What is that included angle? Yeah, what is it?
48.
Why, Lance?
Is 90 is 42.
Perfect. 48 plus 42 plus 90 equals 180. So that being said, which is bigger, AD or BC? AD. All right, there's just 2 more tiny ones. You think we can do those?
Yeah.
I didn't give you homework on 5-7. You can sit through 2 more problems, right?
Yes.
Since 48 is larger than 40. All right, last 2. This says, which is the possible length for MN? Is it 16, is it 19, or is it 22?
19.
16
Wait, what?
16 plus 42 is smaller.
No, because they're both congruent and it gives you KL. No, 16. 16.
So 50 is across from 19, and 42 is across from what we want to know. 16. 16 is smaller than 19 because 42 is smaller than 50. Of those 3 options, the only one that worked is 16. It could not be the same as 19 because the angles were not the same. It could not be 22 because the angle was not bigger than 50. All right, similarly over here. I'm across from 40 or 4.3, and I'm across from 3.7.
It's 25.
25. Why?
Plus it's bigger than the other one. Or like the side.
Good. The side 4.3 is bigger than 3.7. So it's not smaller. It's not equal to, it must be bigger. Yes. And you only have to do the front side of that homework. So if you look at your Schoology page, your 5-7s is your notes again. I don't know what happened. I just gave you your notes twice. That's on me. Chapter 5 has been a mess. Most of it's because I've had to change a lot of things. I'm spending less time on it, but that was just a user error.
It's not like there's 6 classes. 6 classes.
What?
10 days to 6 lots.
Yeah, it's just been a lot. So the homework is 5.6. You do not have to do the backside. All right, I will stop recording now. And